Thank you, everyone. This is a nice crowd, isn't it? It feels good to be here for Pride at the Capitol. My name is Brandon Wolf. My pronouns are he, him, and I am the press secretary for Equality Florida, our state's LGBTQ civil rights organization. We are here, as I said, in the hundreds to resist Governor Ron DeSantis's anti-freedom agenda of book banning, classroom censorship, and authoritarianism that is threatening the well-being of Floridians every single day. His right-wing allies in the legislature have launched an all-out assault on LGBTQ people, with trans and non-binary Floridians most intensely in their crosshairs, for no other reason than to help Ron DeSantis shore up his extremist bona fides for an inevitable run for president of the United States. We are here to resist their transphobic slate of hate legislation. Just 2 years removed from insisting that they were just very worried about girls' sports, Republican leaders have filed over 20 anti-LGBTQ bills to foment the manufactured hysteria that DeSantis can monetize and weaponize in service to his career ambitions.
Say it.
They proposed ripping away parents' rights to seek care for their trans kids. That is supported, by the way, by every major medical organization in the country.
Right.
They've threatened the parents and doctors with jail time. They proposed expanding the Don't Say LGBTQ law and its extreme language all the way to 8th grade, which would see more books ripped from shelves, more classroom content censored. They proposed more hostile takeovers of higher education and more assaults on bodily autonomy. Now, if that doesn't sound like freedom to you, that's because it's not. That is not freedom. Free states don't ban books.
That's right.
Free states don't criminalize healthcare. Free states don't throw parents in jail for caring for their children. Free states don't censor the bits of history that make those in power uncomfortable. There is no freedom in a government dictating what people can read or who they can be. We are here to stand up, to push back, and to fight for real freedom in the state of Florida, because real freedom is worth fighting for. So we have an incredible lineup of speakers. I'd like to start with someone I'm proud to know, my state representative from House District 42, Ana Eskamani.
I am so honored to stand shoulder to shoulder with all these incredible advocates from Equality Florida. I see so many of my constituents. I see so many of those who showed up at Board of Medicine meetings, who showed up at their school board meetings, who showed up at their neighborhood centers, who have showed up face to face with Nazis defending our drag queens. To some degree, I still just can't believe we are here right now. We shouldn't have to do this. 5, 6, 7 years ago, I remember how close we were to passing the Competitive Workforce Act, to solidifying and codifying not just marriage equality in our state, but non-discrimination for people based on who they love and their gender identity. We were so close to getting that done. And what happened? What changed? All of a sudden, being fascist was cool again. And we are facing a governor who wants to commit genocide on trans people. I'm going to say it because we can't sugarcoat it. The buzzwords, the talking points, they don't work anymore. We have to make sure that people of Florida understand what is happening right now. When you strip away access to gender-affirming care, you are erasing trans people. You are erasing our trans babies. When you demonize drag, you are demonizing queer culture. Bottom line. Bottom line. And by the way, maybe you should go to a drag show because you realize just how damn good they are. But I come to you not just as an ally to the LGBTQ plus community, but as an accomplice. And what does it mean to be an accomplice? It means that we don't just show up at Pride Parade with our rainbow dresses, which I will do and look damn good doing, but we also work in the trenches alongside you. We show up at every Board of Medicine meeting to defend trans lives and to point out the hypocrisy of calling yourself a free state while you take away the freedom to access care that you need. We show up in moments like this in committees where we know we don't have the numbers, but we still have to fight like hell to defend our dignity and the health and well-being of the LGBTQ plus community. And I'm a big Star Wars fan. And I have in my office a quote that says, "I would rather die fighting than die giving them what they want." But what I want you to remember as I pass the mic over to my colleagues who are not only directly impacted as LGBTQ plus leaders themselves, but individuals who are just incredible role models for all of us. I want to reflect on just where we are, but also where we can be. Because the rest of the country last year rejected these politics. The rest of the country said, I don't care about your culture wars. I got to put food on the table. I got to pay my bills on time. I'm worried about housing affordability. So I'm going to focus my vote and my attention on the candidates who are championing those issues versus those that rather distract, deflect, and project. Because I'm sure y'all have seen some of the Republicans who kind of like commenting on young gay Instagram profiles, which I just wish you could be your authentic selves. I really wish you could be. But instead, your repressive nature is hurting all of us. And we're going to keep calling out until you understand that it's okay to be gay. And it's okay to be trans. And it's okay to say gay, lesbian, bi, trans, so forth. And so as we fight for individual liberties, freedoms, and dignity, I do want to remind us that every culture war is a class war. And I've been saying this for a while, but I just want to put a point to it, because whenever you see people like Governor DeSantis attack individuals based on what he says it's culture, really what he is doing is widening the gap between the haves and have-nots. Because we know that when you go after gender-affirming care for the families of means who need to access this care, they will find a way to do that. It's still not going to be easy. They might have to uproot themselves and leave the state, which is not okay. But there will be families who have the resources to do that. Then there are those who will not. There are those who can't talk to their parents about their identity right now and are building up the courage to do that. They matter. There's going to be the families of color that are going to not be able to access the same type of medical treatment and might go to a local nonprofit for support. And without that nonprofit being here, they'll have nowhere to go. These policies not only criminalize patients and criminalize parents and doctors and target patients, but they also eliminate access to care immediately from the most vulnerable. And so when you're advocating today, talking to lawmakers, remember that, yes, it is absolutely demonizing people for who they are, but it's also deciding who gets to access care and who doesn't, strictly based on economic stability and income. And I refuse to live in a world where money determines your ability to live an authentic life. And so let's fight back, let's strategize, but also let's think big for the state that we need, the state that we deserve, and how do we take care of ourselves as these fights progress? Because there are going to be people here who need HRT, who need puberty blockers, and no matter what happens in this state, we have to make sure they still have access to care. And for those of us who have the privilege to use our bodies as lines of defense, we better do it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. I want to welcome next a mom from here in Florida with a very powerful story to share, Paula Pifer.
Hi, my daughter Hunter Pifer is a model pictured in this month's March 2023 Vogue magazine. She's dressed in Valentino. She's as beautiful on the inside as she is on the outside. You would never know that this young woman was born in the wrong body. As a toddler, she looked like a little boy, but she always acted like a little girl. So I took her to a doctor to figure out what in the world was wrong with her. And the doctor said, there's nothing wrong. He guessed that maybe she was either my gay son or my transgender daughter. So I chose to love her unconditionally. It is reported that over 41% of transgender kids die by suicide because their condition is misunderstood and they're not supported by their family. Every year since the age of 4, Hunter insisted on going to see Santa Claus in person. She wanted Santa to know that her Christmas list that included Barbies and Disney princesses or anything pink wasn't a mistake. History tells us that as early as the 1600s, there was much speculation regarding King Christina of Sweden's gender and sexual orientation, as there has been with millions of other people throughout the years. So transgenderism isn't anything new. Thank you.
Where's the hate?
At age 15, Hunter told me she needed to go on hormone blockers. She was able to be part of the first generation of transgender children in the United States of America to receive life-saving care. Hunter completed her transition from male to female by the age of 18. She is now 23 years old. She has a Bachelor of Fine Arts from UF. And recently, Hunter walked runways with Prada in Italy and Valentino in Paris. According to the 2018 study by the European Society of Endocrinology, Dr. Julie Baker, 2Ks, reported transgender brains are more like the desired gender from an early age. She used MRI scans to assess brain activation patterns. Dr. Baker says, although more research is needed, we now have evidence. The brain differs in young people with gender dysphoria. Now, God gives us our children to care for in the best way that we know how. Please let doctors guide us through these challenges as we help our transgender children grow and live their best lives. We are the United States of America. We should offer medical care to every child. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your powerful words. I want to welcome now a champion for our community, State Senator Shevrin Jones.
First of all, I want to start off by saying to everyone who's here, you're supposed to be here. I also want to acknowledge the fact I'm a church boy. And the one thing that as we were being raised, Michelle, you would appreciate this. It says God makes no mistakes. And so because of that, I want to acknowledge again, you are supposed to be here. I also want to follow up on something that Representative, my good friend, I call her a true fighter, Representative Eskamani said, and I want to remind the legislature, it wasn't too long ago in both of these chambers, Rep. Eskamani, that we had over 100 co-sponsorships on the competitive workforce bill that Representative Joe Saunders at that time, Representative Carlos Gagamo Smith and Brandon walked these halls with others to bring us to that point. It wasn't that long ago. It also wasn't that long ago when Governor DeSantis went to Orlando and told and made it clear that you all don't have to worry. I will protect the LGBTQ community. It wasn't that long ago. But what are we dealing with now? We're in the legislature now to where over 20 bills, as has already been said and stated, that have already gone out targeting the LGBTQ community. And the fact that the governor and his allies that's here in this building are openly hostile to, listen to this, not individuals who are not from here, but Floridians who live here, who the governor of the 22 million people should be representing also. We as a state should be working every single day, not to make your life hell, but we should be working every single day to making sure that Hunter, Paula, and every other mom that's here in the state of Florida, and every other transgender woman or man, or every other LGBTQ man or woman feel wanted and accepted here in their free state of Florida. But instead of protecting all Floridians, we have to come to the Capitol to protect our dignity and to legitimize our existence here in this state. How sad is it for us to be in 2023? I want to remind y'all it's 2023 because I know when you walk in this building, you might think it's 1963. In 2023, that we still have to go back to square one as LGBTQ men and women, and as Black men and women, as immigrants, men and women, to go back and do the things that we thought people had already fought on our behalf for. But I got a secret for them. While we thought the fight was over, we are committed to continuing the fight so that the next Shevrin, Michelle, Carlos, Joe, Brandon, Ana, whoever come and stand behind this podium, that they won't have to do it again. While my colleagues want to spend time making the lives of individuals worse than they are trying to create it to be now, there's a mom in Miami-Dade County, or probably even in Orlando, or probably even in St. Pete, who is looking and expecting for us to be in this building, figuring out how do you make my and my child life better. But no, we're not doing that today. When we should be in this building right now, fighting to ensure that the families who are fighting for their property insurance, and we thought we did something for property insurance, but we did not. When we should be dealing with that, we're not doing that because we have to sit and fight culture war after culture war after culture war after culture war. Why? Because they are trying to create a national agenda, but on our back that we say no more. There are families that are here across this state, and their expectation is that we fight hard as hell for them. Because some of them can't come stand with us today. I stopped using my loads a long time ago. Some of them can't come and they can't stand in here in this building with us today. So as you all walk these halls in just a few minutes, regardless of how they look at you, regardless of what they say to you, you're supposed to be here. Not only are you supposed to be here, we need you here. And not only do we need you here, others outside of this room, they need you here also. And I'll close with this. There's an old saying that some people are going to leave a mark and some people are going to leave a stain. Unfortunately, my Republican colleagues, what you are doing, you're going to leave a stain on this country. But the ones who are standing here with me today, thank God for you because you are going to leave a mark. Thank you so much. And I appreciate you today.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you. I want to welcome next another powerful leader, Regina Livingston, the CEO of the Unspoken Treasure Society.
I didn't come with notes because I've lived it. I didn't come from privilege. I've had to fight for everything that I have. I'm a Black trans woman and I'm a proud Black trans woman. Our kids are our future. We have to let them lead. It's very sad that we're here and we're in this tumultuous time. But what we have to do is band together. We have to join together and we have to fight. Because there are voices that won't be heard. They're terrified to be heard, but we have to fight. We have to fight for the life of our kids. We have to fight for the lives of our counterparts. And we also have to fight for our elders who began this fight and whose back we stand on. And I'm gonna end with this. United we stand, divided we fall.
Thank you so much, Regina. I want to welcome another champion, a trailblazer in the Florida legislature, State Representative Michelle Raynor.
Before I make comments, I want to center in this moment Black trans women. I want to center Black trans women in this moment because if our Black trans sisters are not free, none of us will be free. I could talk to you about the legislation that has been filed, but we know the legislation that has been filed. But I want to paint a picture of liberation. I want to paint a picture of liberation because that is why we are all here today. I believe that we are in a legislature where the Republicans have hijacked the word liberation. They have hijacked the word freedom. They have used it to oppress folks. They have used it to oppress Black people. They have used it to oppress LGBTQ people. They have used it to oppress folks who are different in any way that they are not like them. And I want to, and I'm churchy, so y'all have to forgive me. So y'all gonna have to forgive me. But I'm gonna have to get in my bag for a minute. I need y'all all to understand who are here under the sound of my voice. As my brother Senator Jones said, it is not by mistake that you are here. And I want to be very clear why it is not a mistake. There is what we would call in the church a prophetic thing that's happening here. And if you don't know what the prophetic thing that is happening here, the prophetic thing that is happening is that you are signaling to the powers that be. And it's not just Ronald Dion, because y'all know I don't call him what they want me to call him. It's not just Ronald Dion, but as my mama would say, wickedness in high places. You are signaling by your presence that liberation is nigh. You are signaling by your presence that liberation is coming. So I want to center my thoughts on what will happen when we will win. What does it look like when we will win? Because they will tell you that we're not going to win. So we are filing 24 and 25 pieces of legislation. Well, you don't file nothing unless you're afraid the folks finna win. Right. You don't oppress folks unless you're afraid that they're gonna win. You don't fight a battle that you're winning. You win it, go ahead. So To me, this lets me know, and I'm not looking with my natural, and I understand we got to fight with our natural. I understand that we got to oppose legislation, but I need you to get into a place in your spirit, especially my LGBTQ folks. I need you to get deep down in your spirit to understand that liberation is nigh. And guess what? We are here to be conduits of that liberation. And let me tell you why. They know that your sacred body, your divine body as an LGBTQ person, they know that you're that conduit of liberation. That's why they're trying to kill you. They wouldn't try to kill you if they didn't know the divineness that's in you. So I want you to begin to reflect on what will happen when we will win. And I'm going to leave you with this. I read Octavia Butler. If you haven't read her, y'all should read her. And in Parable of the Sower, she says, and also 2024 is also coming in Parable of the Sower. Y'all should, there's a lot happening here. Yikes. Lauren, the main character, said, her father says to her, the world is going to end as you know it. And she said, no, Dad, the world as you know it will end.
Woo, we are in a master class today. I'm here for it. Before I introduce our final speakers, I did just want to recognize we have other lawmakers who are standing in solidarity with us. I see you, Representative Harris, Representative Cassell. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. And I'd like to close with another powerful personal story from Emma Roy Mulcahy and Shane, who are Floridians, and I think it's the perfect way to close for us.
Hi there. I'm Emma Roy Mulcahy, and thank you for calling me here. I thank in particular the state government. You called me here when you attacked my family. You called me out of hibernation. I am Mama Bear. And I'm calling out to every single guardian bear out there. It's time to speak up and advocate. I'm an immigrant, as you can hear, from a neurodiverse family, and I'm immensely proud of that fact. 25% of us neurodiverse people are also non-binary. It's just science. We shouldn't be able to argue with facts and science, but here we are. I feel like the state government is the guest that landed on my door a couple of Thanksgivings ago, and like fish, after 3 days, they should have gone. I don't want it to reach 3 years. I've been immensely patient. Basically, parents, all they're guilty of is loving unconditionally. It's the principle of everything, and for that, I'm called names. At least 50% of my friends are Republicans. And when we lived outside of DC, I often minded their kids while they were deployed. I'm immensely proud of the fact I've always been middle of the line. I've always tried to find the balance in things, but I've been pushed really, really, really left. I've been woken. I'm here today because it's too far to go to The Hague for the International Children's Rights. The state is standing between parents and kids. They are not honoring the Republicans that voted them in. They are targeting the most vulnerable of our youth, legalizing kidnapping and genocide. By standing between humans and their doctors. The strategy is to pick on the licenses of doctors, the licenses of teachers, the licenses of media specialists, using the banner of parents' rights in education, but then apparently I have no rights in medicine. They are hijacking parents' role in medicine, and okay. So anyway, sorry. I grew up in a country that was a war. It was a war of extremism. as a kid, what we could do to avoid that was stay home from downtown, from where there would be car bombs. I feel more scared now in my home than I ever did growing up there. Because the stage is in my home, you're in my bedroom, you're obsessing over my kids' genitalia, you're picking on my kids' teachers, you're intimidating media specialists, you're creeping into colleges.
Yes, that's right.
You're threatening the livelihoods of doctors. I call for a restraining order. This is just an open air asylum. None of us know we're all the frogs in the hot tub enjoying it, not realizing it's getting hotter and hotter and hotter. And I can see that because I see patterns and I find it really intimidating. It's not what most taxpayers want. Most taxpayers want a home. They want a livelihood. I see the divide between classes is just widening. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. Anyway, it's time for legislator and reps entrusted by voters to go home and micromanage their own kids, their own teachers, their own classes, their own books, their own colleges. And I promise I won't arrive on your door to call you names, to critique your parenting, to tell you that so that you can tell your kids who they are. I would never stand between a child and their pediatrician. And I would not block life-saving care. This is pro-life care, by the way. When I was a lot younger, I traveled to authoritarian non-democracies like Vietnam and Cuba, and I was horrified by the attacks on ethnic immigrants, on education, on books, media, and colleges. Where I was born way back when, education was intimidated into hedge schools. I know this feeling. Thankfully, my country of my birth progressed and they have strengthened up. They've evolved as a society. And anyone else out there who's neurodiverse and an empath, we are feeling it because the legislation at its core is narcissism while gaslighting. All who say it how it is and the propaganda that reality is fiction and vice versa. There is enough gaslighting there to light up a row of Victorian homes. Florida is not free. Blocking the pursuit of happiness, legislating divisibility. I don't want refugees having to flee Florida, but that is what's happening already. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. Borderline eugenics, what's going on? It's whitewashing. It's favoring neurotypical. It's normalized narrow worldview that rewrites history, invalidating Black lives and achievements. Yeah. I want to borrow from somebody in Brevard, her name is Vara. She said, trans and queer people have always existed. We will always exist. Trans people are beautiful. They are valued and they enrich this world. They make us, they hopefully will make us an enlightened and evolving society. Trans rights now, queer and trans rights forever. Yes.
Yesterday, me and my mom, who is the person who just spoke, went to Walmart to buy this shirt. She wanted me to try it on in the changing room to see if it would work. I was afraid of being hate crimed. I I can't go to public restrooms. I can't go to changing rooms. And this is because over the past few years, and especially ramping up in the past few months, the Republican Party has been getting increasingly authoritarian. They have been getting away with more and more, and they have seen very little, very, very little broad criticism from national agencies. Give me a-
We got your back.
Got this. You're okay.
You're a warrior. Then strong in your truth.
This authoritarian attack has targeted queer and trans people the most. We have seen a rise in hate crimes. We have seen, we see Nazis outside of family-friendly drag events where drag queens are in 20 layers of clothing claiming that they're pedophiles.
Hiding behind their masks, by the way.
Yeah. Cowards.
The same people who a few years ago were criticizing Canada's C-16 bill as being authoritarian and censoring speech, and they'll remove kids from their parents, are now doing exactly that. They are banning books in schools. They are they are banning books in schools. They are banning college classes. And if SB 254 passes, they are going to put trans kids in state custody and consider their parents to be child abusers if they have the gall to support their kid. And I'm kind of running out of things to say here, but yeah, I didn't come with notes or anything. I'm just I'm just ad-libbing.
Doing great.
In the words of an actual defender of freedom, someone who actually cared about liberty,